Hi, guys. Good morning, good afternoon. This is Nikki, also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the Awesome 10X Live Philippine Market Update. We are discussing August 19, 2020. It is a Wednesday, and let's discuss the Philippine market. So let's begin. The index is 6,042. We are down 114 points or negative 1.86%. Let's take a look at which names went up, went down, and let's take a look at some names that are actually strong despite this negative 1.86% drop. So from an index standpoint, did all the names go down? Let's see. So your market value slowly has begun 5.1 billion pesos. So for the last few weeks, we have been seeing market value trading below 4 billion. So it's good to see that there's a billion pesos more in market value traded every single day nowadays. Now, advancers and decliners are at an equal match, 92 advancers, 95 decliners, with 850 million foreign selling. You could see the index is a whole drop. All shares dropped, financials dropped, industrials dropped, holdings dropped, properties dropped, mining dropped, and services went up. So only services went up. Let's take a look at the losers and everything, okay? So you have your RHI up 3%. That's good to see. Your DMC crawled up 2.86% up. Mega World is 2.67% up. Your Pure Gold is up 2.57%. Bloomberry clawed back some of its losses. Now it's up 2.5%. And then Telephone, Security Bank, Luciatan, it's quite unchanged, but it's just there. Now, on the big drops, you've got BPI down 4.87%. Your GT Cap is down 4%. And these are really the huge drops. Your AEV, your Ayala Corp, your AP, Meralco is down 3%. Let's take a look at each of their charts. And then quite unchanged for your Jollibees. Okay, so your Metro Bank was unchanged. Your BDO was unchanged. So only BPI had a huge drop from a financial perspective. Let's take a look at all these things. Let's close this first. Okay, so let's take a look at each financial. The biggest loser today is BPI. So let's take a look why. Of course, let's take a look as well on your statistics before we begin with the charts. The charts are loading. Your top gainers for the day is CHP. It's up 8% from 121 to 131. Let's take a look whether CHP had news for explaining that 8% rise. And then, of course, the other big win is this one. You've got Pure Gold 2.5% and Mega World 2.67%. That's with volume. And then, of course, your RHI is now 67 bucks. This is good to see as well, but very little volume. Your pizza is up 4.5%. Your Holcim and Axelum are up also 4.7 and 5%, but still low volumes. So let's try to see what's happening within these gainers as well. Now, on the most active space, mostly red. So Axelum is one of the most active with a 5% gain. Let's take a look at what happened on Axelum. Pure Gold, Robinson's Retail, Ayala REIT is unchanged. PLDT, CHP. Okay, so we have a few names that we don't discuss that we should probably take a look at. Okay, worst losers. The biggest loser is BPI and GT Cap, so 62.5 and 407. And then, of course, Ayala Corp is 735. Those are our biggest losers. The rest, JG Summit, Nicolasia, down 3%, 303. So it's going down on the X dates. So yesterday was down 9 cents. Today is down 10 cents. So 19 cents drop. If it goes down near 3 below, you've got probably a few buyers to get back in after they sold their X dates. So SM Prime is down 1 peso. And then, of course, Ayala Land and Dito. Okay, so some drops we are seeing. So take a look one by one. So this one is BPI. BPI is big drop today. Let's see the charts. Let's consult the charts. So we have been opining that the banks, the financials were actually crawling and bottoming out. So this is has this 4% drop nullified that bottoming out. So let's take a look. So it has bottomed out here at 61, rallied to as high as 65, 66, and now dropping at 62.50. We still think that although this is a huge drop today, as long as it's trading above 60, we are still in a bottoming out zone for your BPI. Let's take a look whether East-West managed to still strong. So yesterday, East-West was still strong, and today it continues to be there above 8. From a banking perspective, sector-wide, it is low, but it's still there. Security Bank is 98. Metro Bank is still there at 36. You've got BDO still at 92, 91. So it's just there. So barring any bad news for BPI per se, it looks like it was a one guy, just probably somebody tried to sell BPI and not like a sectoral wide call. Now, let's see the biggest drop, of course, GT Capital. GT Capital also dropped a lot today, 407, but it looks like this is still above the 396 and 400. So the trend is still there. It looks like we have a triple bottom here at about 385 to 400. So I think any drops at about 400 will still continue to have some buyers there. The earnings was a given to be bad, so I don't think that people are surprised with 70% drops. Now, let's take a look at the other names that we have been looking at. So AGI continues strongly, 641, so it's a hold. RRHI is also going up. Of course, we have been mentioning that RRHI was bullish buy here at 60, 61, and even at 62. Now it's trading at 67. We will continue to trail stop our Robinson's Retail. Let's see whether it goes 72 or even at 82. Let's just wait it out and hold on. So that's some of the winners. You know that these are your earnings great winners, 96 to 110. Should ICT fall to 100, then you've got a good buying entry. So far, it's just consolidating there with its gains. You've got Pure Gold, of course, clawing back up. Of course, we saw the 48 breakout here, and it has gone to 52. It's consolidated back to 50, and now it's back to 52. It's still an uptrend as far as we can tell, and any drops near 48 below is probably going to be bought out for Pure Gold. So we think that the trend is your friend, and Pure Gold has the leeway to go as high as 60. And so this is just a hold. Now, if Pure Gold goes up, we do think that Costco will somehow carve a bottoming out process here. So Costco here at about $5 or 480 could be bottoming out. Now, for the restaurant space, it's good to see pizza go up today. Shakey's Pizza. We noticed that on the earnings front, even with the bad news, we did reiterate that what we thought, our view, and you can look back at our old videos, 3 days ago when Shakey's Pizza had an earnings front, we said that pizza was one of the companies that had the ability to actually be stronger as the years pass. So this is a 45-year-old chain. Shakey's Pizza is a multi-decade brand. And so just the brand alone and the takeout delivery service is enough for us to buy pizza and buy it at a bargain price. So at 540, 550, that was a great entry price. Today, 575 is just a confirmation that we have been correct in ignoring the bad news and actually buying the bad news. And even if you didn't buy at 550, we'd say that at 575 continues to be a buy signal. And any drops near 550 would continue to be bought. You've got resistance at 650 to $7. If you look at the risk versus reward, it's skewed to the bulls. So being bullish on Shakey's Pizza is a good thing. You could see that we negated all the bad news when Cebu Pacific was reporting billions of losses and Shakey's Pizza as well. We said that Cebu Pacific was actually ignoring all that bad news and was carving out a buying area. So at 37, 38, we did elicit and encourage more buying. And that buying today is still there. It's 37, 38, 39. So it's still below 40. But we think that eventually this will rally back to 50 as the time goes by. So it's more of a buy on the lows and sell on the highs. Now, let's take a look at what's happening. JG Summit fell today at 62, 63. So we are seeing that JG Summit is actually a beneficiary of your URC and your Meralco and your telephone. For those who aren't aware, Meralco is a stable name. We have been opining that any price near 260 below was a great buy. It wasn't able to go to 250. From about 260, it rallied back to 280, and now it's 270. We don't see a huge upside, but it's just stable. So Meralco, PLDT, these are stable dividend plays. As you could see, PLDT's broadband connectivity and 5G is helping the company, and they have been growing their revenue so far for the last, I'd say, 8 quarters. So it wasn't like the last quarter that only surprised. I think You can check back in their quarterly reports. It's either 4, 5, 6, or at least 8 quarters already of reversal for PLDT. So we are seeing, and we have opined for quite a while now, that PLDT at 1.1 was an attractive buy, and that any drops near 1,000. And even of the COVID drop, we didn't really get scared. We knew that this company was already turning around, and really the broadband connectivity is one of the strongest reasons to own PLDT. That said, we did say that at 1.4, you might see some temporary resistance selling because 1.4, 1.5, you've got that resistance here. Let me just reiterate that PLDT doesn't have a 100% return. You are in PLDT mostly just because of you're just there for the dividends. So I'm not saying that PLDT would fall after hitting 1.4 or 1.5, but the upside is probably muted, maybe another 10% from here onwards. But the people who got in at 1.2 should be happy about their purchases. 1.2 below, they got the dividends. So every year, PLDT gives you 78 pesos with leeway to go higher. Maybe it can go 90 pesos someday if they do believe, if you believe that PLDT can grow better in their earnings front. So you are seeing a turnaround ship here. Of course, that was very obvious. You could see that the trend lines was also sharing that buying on an area here at about 1,000, 1.1. So we have not been remiss in discussing our bullishness on PLDT even before COVID time, like even here at 1.1, even last year. Although last year, you just never heard me talk about it because I wasn't doing videos. So yeah, so I wasn't remiss in buying PLDT all the time. That this 1.2, any drops here, you can remember we have been discussing 1.180 and 1.2 continues to be buying areas. Now at 1.4, I am quite scared to buy here, but I am not sure whether it goes to 1.5, 1.6. So I think like at this point in time, you want to hold on to it, see whether it climbs up. But if it goes down, don't worry. I think that 1.3 or 1.2, you'll have a lot of buyers there. So mining names went down today. You are seeing that Apex Mining, of course, at 170, we did say that there's really a potential resistance at 170 to 180, despite gold climbing up. So this resistance at 170 to 190 might be a hard money to make already. So the easy money is to wait for Apex Mining to go down. But if it doesn't go down, then so be it. Nicolasia looks to be a good attractive entry if Nicolasia gives us an entry to 80 to 260. Of course, we know this drop is just related to the ex-dividend date, but we aren't sure if Nicolasia will fall. It's really hard to predict the ex dates. But today you don't get, if you're buying Nicolasia, you don't have the dividend already. Let's take a look at the other names. Okay, so we haven't been discussing Axelum or CHP. For reasons that I don't see a reason to have it. But is there a reason to have it? Let's read whether there's reports quarterly. The charts are sharing some good news, but are the fundamentals also doing well? So let's take a look at the news on Axelum. So Axelum has been rising. You can see this is a V shape from 185 to $3, and then another double bottom at 190. Now it's 248. The good volume today. So what is happening? Earnings front, August 13. So earnings was down 50%. So it's not related to earnings then. This move, this cross has nothing to do with earnings. Axelum income has fallen on higher costs. So maybe it's just share buybacks. I'd say that the company is doing a lot of share buyback transactions as evidenced on the PSEI disclosures. But Axelum looks to be just a trading range from about 180 to 3. So that's a good range, as you could see. But at 250, it looks like you're in the middle pack. And with earnings not shaping up to be good, you might want to wait for a better entry point. Now for CHP, I also don't know why it went up today. So let's take a look at the charts first and let's see whether there's good news happening. CHP has been rallying apparently from about 90 cents to 130. It has broken that 120 and 130 mark. So that's about 40-50% increase from its lows. Earnings hasn't come out yet. And let's take a look what happened with CHP. There's rising volume and rising price. CHP, does it have news? Let's take a look. CHP. Cemex. Also today, I just wanted to share that ACEPH, or now known as ACEN, ACEN, let us discuss that later. Okay, wait up. I have news on ACEN. Chart-wise, okay, CHP, okay, that's a strong move. But is there a sustainability about that news? Okay, so earnings report, it slumped 93%, construction halt. Um, so I generally would stay away, even if it's a strong move. So you could see that first and foremost, I am late if I'm going to enter today at 1:30. There is a risk that it goes back down to 1 peso. The fact that there's a very strong downtrend shows to you that there's a lot of sellers here who'd be willing to sell at any price increase. So they would be happy to sell at 140. They'd be happy to sell at 160. And the people who got in low at about 1 peso or 110 would also be happy to sell. With many sellers, I'd say that CHP continues to be a difficult, it's difficult money, so I try to avoid money in difficult charts. And then what else is the one? Axelum. So with Axelum, sure, it's good chart right now, but as you can see, there's a lot of pent-up resistance here at $3 and at about 280 and even at 260. So good for the people who got in low near 180 to 220. I'd say that you want to hold on to your winners and see whether it goes to about 3 or 320. But I wouldn't buy here. So I'll just let it be. There's money to be made elsewhere in the world. If I can't enter a good setup, it's okay for me to miss out. Okay, so there is news, of course, on ACEPH. Let us read that news on ACEPH. They are increasing a solar farm here in the Philippines. So ACEN news. Or maybe we can see it here already in Investograms. Let me see, ACEN. So AC Energy Philippines is actually a global, they want to be a global renewable play. So, it's not here, but there's news. It should be in the edge. Should be here, no? Let's see. Wait up. So, news and disclosures. Okay, let's read this together. It's in ABS-CBN News. They are developing 2 new solar plants in Central Luzon. That's good. So we have been discussing that AC Energy is one of our only solar plays in the Philippines. You can see that this is a 330 megawatt solar plant in Vietnam. We also note that they have some deals with India. So one of the best companies in the Philippines to invest in with a good secular trend is actually AC Energy. So let's read this together. AC Energy said that they want to develop 2 new solar plants in Central Luzon, expanding the capacity up to 150 megawatt. This is the first project with up to 75 megawatt located in Arayat and Mexico, Pampanga, worth 3.3 billion pesos. This will also be, there will also be another one installed in Zambales with a capacity of up to 75 megawatts, costing around 3 billion pesos, completed by first quarter of 2022. AC Energy is going to bring the totals Philippine project under construction to 480 megawatts, 330 megawatt solar, 150 megawatt of the peaking diesel plants. So while we are facing significant challenges amidst the current crisis, we are committed to invest in the country and drive the expansion to renewables, said CEO Eric Francia. So guys, I think that this is a company that you really want to invest in: sustainable energy and clean energy and cheap solar. So we take the long view when investing. The investments will be fruitful, reigniting the economy and creating jobs. I do think that one of the highest jobs when you look at the US is actually being a solar panel installer. So I'm happy with what Ayala Corporation is doing in enriching the Filipinos in the segment of solar energy. The Ayala-led Energy said that it's going to become the largest listed renewables platform in Southeast Asia, with a goal of reaching 5,000 megawatt capacity by 2025. So that's 5 years. So when it comes to execution, I believe that AC has the capacity and the money. And so when they say that they want to be a 2025 solar renewable energy leader, I would believe them. And I'd say that at 230, those who got in might want to enter more should AC Energy continue to give entries here at about 270 below. So it's now trading at 271. This is a typical flag. Sure enough, there are people who are willing to sell because there is that resistance at $3. But if we break above that $3, I think that the all-time high skies was coming soon. But we don't know really if AC Energy will have an all-time high in this climate. All we do know is that AC Energy is in the right segment. It's in the right secular trend, and we want to be buying a company in the right secular trend. So I think that if this goes above 270, we can see it go 340 to 360. So I don't want to speculate, but I think that this company has a great 5 to 7 years ahead of it. So a decade. So 2013 to 2020, take note that these resistances are not made by AC Energy. Because AC Energy was a backdoor of a TA, TransAsia. So some people who got trapped at TransAsia became the new shareholders of AC Energy. So it's good that AC Energy actually became the owner of TransAsia, because it's gonna make this one go higher. It could be a 5 peso or a 10 peso stock someday. Of course, I'm not trying to hype. Of course, it has to do with solar energy being the dominant source of electricity, not just in the Philippines, but really Southeast Asia, as AC Energy wanted to be. And so you want to actually know more about global sustainable solutions, and solar energy is cheaper than your coal by a mile. Coal is about 6 to 8 cents, and solar is about 1 to 3 cents. So that in itself is a reason to have solar energy, not just maybe in the Philippines, but also abroad. There's a question today: why is Apex better than Philex Mining? Well, it has to do with the Philex. Philex Mining has been a 20-year mine. Take a look at how long Apex Mining continues to have gold production. No, so it's more of the remaining gold reserves. So it's really about that. There's a question: Bloody Thursday. I didn't expect BPI to be down big on the last few minutes. I don't think that there is a big problem on BPI. As we said, the sector on the banks is it's low. We aren't saying that the banks will become a 100% move, but I think for 10 to 20%, it's decent. So at levels like 62, 60, a while ago, 62.50, it's not so bad. Like, I think that you have a decent risk reward for your BPIs. People are saying ghost month. Actually, it's I think the problem in the Philippines is not just about ghost month. It's really about whether we have great companies. Like, take note, ghost month nga, but ACE, can you get it at 230? It's very hard. And I think that if you are able to get ACE or AC Energy at 230 below, it's probably a good thing to you to own it, diba? So there's a question: what do you think about IRC, the builder of Makati Subway? Let's see. Let me see. I haven't been checking, no? Sorry. So the infrastructure development, in general, the construction kasi has really become halted. So that is the problem with these infrastructure projects. The infrastructure right now, okay, it's good. 90 cents, it rallied to 1 peso. Probably it just needed funding, no? Are there news about the funding? So far, there's no news about the CAPEX. So when you are doing an airport or a subway, you need a lot of money. And so I think what IRC just has to prove is that the Chinese will really invest in it. So it's still a speculative play. At this point in time, what you need to see is that Philippine infra dev, that's a good thing, no? The Philippines needs better airports, better subways. We need better transportation. And if China wants to invest through IRC, that's a good thing for us. Now, the question is China money true, or is it just a fake? So we just need that money to really be there. So I'd say news flow of money trickling in to Philippine infra dev is going to help that company over the long run. So you just need more news about that. Now, I really don't know if the Chinese money is truly getting in on IRC. So that is the only question mark I have. There's a question: may effect ba ang ghost month? Marami kasi nagsasabi na ghost year na raw, kaya wala na rin daw darating na ghost month. Well, to me, as you could see, there are companies that are already down at the dumps. Kahit na anong ghost month pa or whatever, if Cebu Pacific is trading at 40 to 30, if you want to buy it at 25 pesos, of course, it's a value play. Alam naman natin na walang nag-airport ngayon, walang nag-airline, hindi tayo makatravel. Pero the question now is, are you gonna travel to Hong Kong and Japan someday, some year from now? So if the question there is 2 years from now, can it revive itself? Then you can answer the question to yourself. Question mark. People are asking me, like last few days ago, Shakey's Pizza reported a bad earnings quarter. But investing has nothing to do with what they will earn or lose money this year. The question is, in the next 3 years, do you think that you will order Mojo potatoes with Shakey's Pizza? And so we said that at 550, it seems as if all the bad news is already there. And so we said we should buy it. So today it's 575. Should Shakey's Pizza drop this month to about 5 pesos or 450? It's actually a good chance for you to enter Shakey's Pizza. Why don't you accumulate Mojo potatoes and chicken and pizza while you can? You will make money someday in the future. But of course, in the Philippines, because nga the pandemic is there, we have no money as well. You see a lot of people losing their jobs. There is very little consumer spending, and that is gonna happen. That's why it's gonna always be a difficulty. So if index goes at 10, 20%, if index from 6,000 goes 7,000 or 6,500, 6,600, nagkakaroon ka ng sellers kasi wala kasing pera yung Philippine market eh. That's really the problem. He said, I made all kinds of gains on AGI. Yeah, that's thankful. It's good. AGI can continue higher. So what we always say is that if you have a winner, try to hold on. AGI used to be bought by Andrew Tan himself. I think the price that he bought was as high as 13. So even him, the owner of the company, is probably buying more at 6 pesos, 6.30. So that's a company that you have a big company, and Emperador isn't really, it's not gonna go to the bunkers. That said, maybe if ghost month nga, if people are really scared, maybe you can buy even AGI at 5.5 or 5.8. So at this point in time, kasi if you got it low, you might even be able to sell it at 9, 10 pesos. Even if right now we think, baka AGI 750, magkaroon ng selling. Pero you never know. Maybe one day, maybe a year or 2 years from now, AGI goes 10, 11 bucks. 100% yun, guys. So the question is, there's also more questions. Should we sell PLDT tomorrow? I am not sure kasi are you there for the dividends? Can you imagine how many people bought Ayala REIT for a 4 to 6% dividend, and you can make 6% on your PLDT. PLDT, if you bought, of course, at 1112, di ba, every year, it gives you 78 pesos. O, calculate nyo, magkano yon? 6% yield yon. So, kung gusto nyo yung pera nyo, hindi natutulog sa bangko, we said PLDT was a great alternative. And those who believed us were correct. Now, the question is, ngayon, swerte kayo. Kumita na kayo ng 6% dividends. Tapos PLDT from 1.2, assuming your cost was 1.2 or 1.1, is now at 1.4. So up ka pa ng 20%. So the question is, babagsak ba ang PLDT at 1.2? Di ko rin alam eh. I think that at 1.4, mahirap to buy there. Pero hindi rin naman yan sure na sell. Kasi yun nga, kung 1.2 naman presyo mo, every year naman, babayaran ka ni PLDT ng 70 plus pesos, gusto mo ba talagang pakawalan yung winner mo? Ganun lang talaga. Now, there's a question, do you trade during ghost month, Nikki? To be honest, it's a question of, basta may okay bang risk-reward, bili tayo. So, kung maganda naman yung risk-reward, bibili tayo. Do you believe that ghost month has an effect on PSEI? I think that it's a belief of most people. Pero, it really depends. Mahina na kasi yung Pilipinas. As you said, ghost year naman tayo. May effect pa ba yung ghost month? Buong taon naman, actually, matagal na tayong mahina, di ba? So, ewan ko, kung bumaba tayo, di bumaba tayo. Ganun lang yun. Any thoughts on the Axelum and CHP? Actually, the earnings of Axelum and CHP doesn't inspire confidence. So, maganda yung chart, pero hindi ako makakabili at these levels. So, if you have it, good for you. If you don't have it, I think hayaan mo na lang. Is now a good buy signal? Medyo speculative tong now eh. So, I didn't even notice the chart. Kamusta na ba yung Now Corporation? I think like hindi mo naman kailangan to buy if wala talagang earnings. And even if maganda yung chart, edi okay lang, sa iba na lang. Talagang minsan you're missing out din kapag meron kang criteria. So Now Corporation has rallied from 1 peso to 2 peso. I guess Now Corporation is wanting to be in the level of mga PLDT and Globe, pero wala namang cash flows, wala namang dividends, di ba? So wala namang execution. So I guess para sa akin, hindi na lang. Imagine mo, from 2 to 20 and then back to $2. So ano yun? Ang tawag dyan, pump and dump. Diba? Penny stock. Ano pa ba? Ano pa ba tawag dyan? Penny stock. Any thoughts on GT Cap? So GT Cap, I think the value of GT Cap has to do with Metrobank. Ang problem kay Metrobank is of course, mukhang nasa 33 to 42 range lang si Metrobank. So GT Cap would be in a range of about 380 to about 520. So, but GT Cap said that second half recover siguro yung sales nila ng cars. So it's really depending on that. There's a question. Hi ma'am, bakit ang laki ng book value ng IRC? Actually, I don't look at book value kasi 'di ba ang IRC gusto niya infra development. So walang kwenta yata yung mga book value ng mga past financials. You have to look at what's gonna happen in the future, and IRC wala naman siya ngayong business except yung 'di ba nag-backdoor lang 'yan. So, yun, kailangan yung infrastructure development yung binabantayan mong news for IRC. So, all the financials in the past will not matter. Example, for AC Energy, hindi ako magtitingin ng TransAsia ng mga book value kasi that's all in the past. I have to look at what's in the future. So, the question is, ano yung nangyayari for AC Energy, for solar, for their plants? So, reason to sell your winner, Christy is asking. The best reason to sell your winner is it has reached your target if you have a target price. It has reached a resistance which you deemed is a potential resistance. So example of a resistance what that we have been indicating is Apex Mining. Apex, APX, we noticed that we like it, of course. We said that gold was a great play. So we said that 120, it could go to 170, 180, 160. True enough, it already did hit that 170 level. So the question now is, can gold continue to go higher? So I'm not saying that gold will not continue to go higher, but it seems to me that if this is a crowded trade, dumadami na kasing believer ng gold. We were saying that at 1.7 here, nandito yun yung gold. Yung Apex Mining nung time na yon, mga 120 lang yon. Ngayon, nandito na. So you could see that there's a lot of selling pressure at 2,080. Unless you can convince me that gold here goes to 4 immediately, then I'll buy Apex. But if I see that gold seems to be consolidating right now, then that is a reason for me to sell. Kasi the reason I bought it was gold was rising. So if gold is already profit-taking, out na ako. Profit-taking muna ng gold. I could be wrong, guys. Kasi mamaya, consolidate, profit-take, tapos kaboom, 2-2 na 2-3, 2-4. So yun. So the reason to sell your winners is only if the thesis that you bought it has played out, and then that thesis is already changing na. So you bought it because gold will rise, and nag-rise nga, tapos ka na. O ano pa? Will it rise further? That's the next question naman. There's a question, BDO or China Bank? Well, between the two, liquidities and BDO. So BDO tayo dyan. Liquidity tayo sa may 150 million araw-araw na value traded. China Bank doesn't have a lot of trading action. So the problem if it's not being traded, nobody looks to discover the value if there is value. So wala ring kwenta. If no value traded, para kang wala naman buyer-seller, wala naman din gagawa ng valuation sa mga ganyan. So yun. Thank you very much for all the questions. See you again tomorrow. And check out our global market updates as well. Thank you. Bye-bye. Ay, bye-bye ka rin. Oh, bye-bye.